Am I the asshole for wanting to close our marriage after my wife found someone better? I 3 don't even know how to begin this, except to say I didn't expect my life to look like this. Not when I came up with the idea. Not when she said yes. And definitely not now. Watching my wife laugh at her phone with a glow I haven't seen in years, maybe ever. We've been married for 6 years. Together for 9. I won't lie, it wasn't perfect. Marriage rarely is. There were moments when we felt more like roommates than soulmates. I figured that was just what long-term relationships became. But instead of doing what maybe I should have, therapy, honest conversations, I started spending time on certain corners of Reddit. Poly communities, non-monogamy forums, places that made opening up seem evolved, modern, like I'd graduated to a more mature understanding of love. And I'll admit it, I was bored, stuck. I wanted excitement again, something new. I missed the chase. So, I floated the idea one night while we were drinking wine on the patio. I told her, some couples try ethical non-monogamy. Maybe it could bring us closer. She laughed. You're joking, right? I wasn't, but I pretended to be. For a while, I kept dropping hints, articles, podcasts, even stories from friends about how open marriages saved their relationships. She's a woman of color, with deeply rooted family values. So I knew I had to move carefully. She didn't grow up in a culture where this kind of thing was acceptable. Her family would absolutely disown her if they even knew we were talking about it. But after months of soft-selling the idea, we had a serious conversation. She cried, asked if I wasn't happy with her, if I was cheating. I told her no, never. I just wanted us to feel more alive again. Eventually, she agreed. I think back now and realize she didn't say yes because she wanted to. She said yes because she thought saying no might mean losing me. The first few months were incredible. For me, I matched with a couple of women online. Nothing serious, mostly hookups. I made it clear I was married. Some were into it, others weren't. I enjoyed the attention, the freedom, the novelty. I came home energized, complimented my wife more, initiated intimacy again. I thought it was working. She, on the other hand, was slower to get into it. She'd never used dating apps before. I helped her set up her profile. She was nervous, too nervous. I told her she didn't have to do anything she wasn't comfortable with. But deep down, I wanted her to try. For a while, nothing happened. And I was okay with that. Honestly, I liked it. I had my fun. And she was still mine. Safe. At home. Then one day she came home. Different. Her lipstick was new. Her energy felt lighter. She smelled like a different perfume one I hadn't bought her. I didn't say anything at first. But something in my chest tightened. That night, she sat down beside me on the couch and said, I met someone. His name is Darren. I didn't know what I expected. Maybe some awkward Tinder date with a guy who wouldn't last more than a week. But Darren turned out to be real and consistent. She started seeing him regularly once a week at first, then more. He cooked for her, sent her books, took her to art galleries and jazz nights. The kind of stuff I used to do when we were still dating. The kind of stuff I'd stopped doing. She started dressing up again, buying new earrings, painting her nails a deep red I hadn't seen on her since our 3rd anniversary. I'd ask where she was going, and she'd just smile and say, out. It was all within the rules. We had agreed honesty, protection, no secrets. But now I was the one checking her location at night. I was the one sitting on the couch, refreshing Instagram, hoping not to see a tagged photo. The power balance had shifted, and I didn't know how to get it back. I told myself it was just a phase, that it'd burn out, but it didn't. She came home one night at 1 a.m., kicked off her heels, and started humming while she made tea in the kitchen. I was wide awake in bed, pretending to sleep. Her phone buzzed. I saw the notification on the screen. Darren, miss you already. You're magic. Magic. I used to be her magic. The thing no one tells you about opening. Your marriage is what it does to your imagination. I used to sleep easily. Now every night feels like a haunted house. Every creak and buzz another reminder that she's somewhere else with someone else being touched in ways I can't control. At first, I told myself this was the cost of being modern, evolved, that this discomfort was temporary. But the truth is, something deeper was unraveling, and I didn't know how to stitch it back together. It's not just the sex. It's the softness in her eyes when she talks about him. The way her voice changes ever so slightly when she says his name, Darren, like it tastes good in her mouth. I tried to pretend I didn't notice. I doubled down on being the cool husband. I made dinner, bought her a necklace, booked us a weekend getaway to try and reconnect. She said she'd come, but then canceled last minute because Darren surprised her with concert tickets to the same artist I played during our first road trip. That night, I drank half a bottle of scotch and stared at our wedding photo for 2 hours. She looked so happy in it, so sure. I confronted her a few days later. Not angry, just lost. "Do you still love me?" I asked. She looked up from her laptop, blinked. "Of course I do. Why would you even ask that?" "I don't know. You just seem distant. Different." She sighed. "You're the one who wanted this." There it was. The line she had every right to say. "I didn't expect you to fall in love," I mumbled, before I could stop myself. She looked at me, then really looked at me. Her eyes didn't flash with guilt or shame. They were calm, measured. "I didn't expect it either," she said. "But Darren treats me like I matter. Like I am fascinating, desired, not just needed for bills, laundry, or to sit beside someone who's too tired to talk." The words hit harder than I thought they would, because they weren't cruel. They were honest. I had asked for truth. I just didn't expect it to be this brutal. After that, she started going out more often. Tuesday dinners, Thursday drinks, Saturday overnights. She still came home, still laughed at my jokes sometimes, still kissed me on the cheek when she walked past. But something was missing. Some invisible thread between us had snapped, and no amount of polite small talk or shared grocery lists could fix it. I stopped sleeping around too. Not because I didn't want to, but because every time I was with someone else, all I could think about was her. Wondering what she was doing, who she was smiling at, if she was thinking about me. She wasn't. One night, I waited up for her. It was nearly 2 a.m. when she walked in, hair mussed, lips glossy, smelling like sandalwood and something warmer him. She looked surprised to see me awake. "Hey," she said, setting down her bag. I tried to sound casual. "You okay?" "Yeah, just tired." "We stayed later than I thought." I nodded. "Then, did you sleep with him?" She froze. Not because I asked, because I already knew the answer. She didn't lie. "Yes." And that's when I realized I had made the worst mistake of my life. Not because she was sleeping with someone else, but because for the first time in years, she looked alive. I tried to close the distance between us. "Do you still want to do this?" I asked her one morning while we were drinking coffee. She didn't answer right away. She stirred in sugar, blew gently on the rim. Then she said, "Do you?" I wanted to scream no. I wanted to tell her I hated this, that I didn't know what I was thinking, that I didn't want to share her anymore. But I said, "I'm just asking." She stared at her cup. "We're finally being honest with each other, aren't we?" I didn't know how to respond to that, because she was right. I had finally gotten what I asked for, raw and filtered honesty, and I hated every second of it. She told me Darren asked her if she wanted something more. Not instead of me, just with him. A commitment, a real one, not just something casual, not just borrowed time. She hadn't said yes, but she hadn't said no either. That night, I watched her sleep beside me, and all I could think was, I might already be gone. She just hasn't left yet. I used to believe that emotional pain was something you could manage, compartmentalize, like a messy drawer. Just close it and walk away. But it's not like that. It creeps in, slowly, quietly, until suddenly, you're sitting in your parked car 3 blocks from home, staring at the steering wheel and wondering when exactly you became this pathetic version of yourself. I've done that twice this week, because now, I don't feel like her husband. I feel like her leftover. She doesn't hide things from me. That's the worst part. She tells me when they go on dates. She tells me when they're spending the night together. Once, she even told me about how Darren surprised her with breakfast in bed and made her a playlist of songs that remind him of her energy. She wasn't bragging. She was just happy and honest. And I had no right to be angry because this is what I wanted. But I am angry. I'm bitter, jealous, and ashamed. And the resentment is starting to poison everything. Last Friday, we were supposed to go to her cousin's wedding together. She looked stunning: gold silk dress, braids pinned up, heels that made her legs go on forever. I hadn't seen her wear something like that for me in over a year. And then she told me she'd invited Darren too, as her plus one. "It's not a big deal," she said. "It's just family. They know we're open." I don't even remember what I said back. Probably something stupid or defensive, but I didn't go. I told her I had work to catch up on. I stayed home and scrolled through the wedding pictures on Facebook, watching her slow dance with him while I sat in sweatpants eating takeout alone. That night, I cried in the bathroom, with the shower running so she wouldn't hear. I tried to talk to my best friend about it. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "You're mad she's doing exactly what you said she could do." "It's not that," I said. "I just didn't expect her to fall for someone, to build a life with him." He didn't even pretend to sympathize. "What did you think was gonna happen, man? You thought she'd sit at home while you did whatever you wanted? She's a beautiful woman. You gave her the green light. She just walked through the door." I finally asked her to talk last Sunday. I waited until she came home from a weekend away with him. She was glowing, skin-kissed by sun, laughing at something he texted her as she dropped her bag in the hallway. "We need to talk," I said. She paused. "Okay. What's going on? I can't do this anymore." She blinked. "Do what?" "This, you, him. I thought I could handle it, but I can't. I don't want to share you anymore." Silence. She sat down slowly at the edge of the couch, folded her hands in her lap. Then she asked, "So what are you saying? That we close the marriage?" "Yes," I said, almost too quickly. "I want to work on us. Just us. No one else." She didn't look surprised or angry, just tired. "I've been asking you to work on us for years," she said. "I begged for connection, for date nights, for affection. You gave me breadcrumbs. And when I started to feel like I was disappearing, you suggested this." I felt sick. I didn't know what I was doing. I whispered, "No, you didn't care what it would do to me." She didn't scream, didn't storm out. She just stood up, walked into the bedroom, and quietly packed a bag. "Where are you going?" I asked. "I need space." She walked past me, down the hall, and out the front door without slamming it. And just like that, the woman I thought I'd always have beside me because marriage meant forever was gone, and I had no idea if she was ever coming back. I sat alone for hours, looked through our wedding album, watched an old video of us cooking together, laughing and dancing barefoot in the kitchen. I realized how much I took for granted, how I saw her as a permanent fixture, always there, always mine. But she's not mine, she's hers, and now she knows it. And maybe that's the most painful part of all. When she left, I couldn't stop thinking, not sleeping, not eating, just scrolling through every memory we ever made together, replaying the moment this all went wrong. I had the nerve to believe I was in control of this story. So, I did the only thing I could think of. I posted on Reddit. It wasn't a rage post. I didn't insult her or paint myself as the hero. I was honest, raw. I admitted everything, how I pushed for an open marriage, how I enjoyed the freedom until she found someone who made her feel more alive than I ever had, how I asked her to stop, and she refused, how she left. I ended it with a simple question: am I the asshole for wanting to take it all back? And the internet answered, loudly. They didn't mince words. Most people told me I was selfish, that I treated my wife like a backup plan, that I only valued her once someone else showed her the love and attention I should have been giving all along. Some accused me of emotional manipulation. Others said this was just karma catching up. But the worst responses were the quiet ones. The people who shared their own stories. Wives and husbands who had been on the receiving end of this same kind of push. People who stayed silent to keep their marriages intact, only to slowly lose pieces of themselves in the process. Reading their words felt like looking in a mirror I'd been avoiding for years. 3 days later, she came home, just for a bit, just to get her things. She was calm, composed, not angry, just done. I tried to talk to her. "I'm sorry," I said. "I didn't realize how much I'd hurt you. I thought this would bring us closer." She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just said, "You didn't break a rule. You broke me. And now I finally feel whole again. Why would I come back to someone who shattered me?" She picked up a small box, glanced once around the apartment we shared, then walked out. And this time, I knew she wasn't coming back. It's quiet now. Too quiet. The playlists have stopped. The perfume doesn't linger in the hallway. Her favorite mug sits untouched in the sink. And all I have left are memories of a woman I pushed away in search of something new, and who finally realized she deserved something better. I opened our marriage thinking I'd gain freedom, adventure, variety. What I lost was the only person who ever truly loved me. And the worst part is, I handed her the door. She just had the courage to walk through it.